Director General, Nigeria Institute of International Affairs, Professor Bola Akinterinwa, joins us now to discuss this, of course, troubling situation, if you would say. Thank you so much for joining us on The World Now. So people would have looked at Nigeria and Ghana as like the two biggest economies in West Africa. How did we get to this point? We know it's been a topsy-turvy kind of relationship between the two countries, but how did we get to this point where we now have to start from dating back to, decades now? We've had this relationship between ourselves. How did we get to this point?
I think you are quite right. When you go down the memory lane, you discover that the foundation of relationship between Nigeria and Ghana is actually predicated on competition, rivalry, and leadership tussle. That's the way we should put it. If you remember that Ghana acceded to national sovereignty in March 1957, meaning that Ghana has experience in terms of post-colonial political governance than Nigeria.
Okay.
Kwame Nkrumah by that time was more internationally known than Nigeria, which was yet to get our own independence in 1960. So Kwame Nkrumah, as an international player, laid a foundation of leadership role for Ghana. But Kwame Nkrumah was more or less a radicalist. He's a radical politician. Our own leader, Tafawa Balewa, was a conservative. If you remember too, that by the time the then Organization of African Unity was to be put in place in 1963, there was a struggle, competition between the Monrovia bloc, spearheaded by Nigeria, Casablanca bloc, spearheaded by Kwame Nkrumah. The Monrovia school was trying to talk about functional, unity, while Kwame Nkrumah was saying that, look, have political unity and all other things will follow. But Nigeria said no. This was the foundation. And it is as a result of this foundation that the whole hullabaloo that we are witnessing began. Your question is, how do we move from that to where we are today? We must not also quickly forget that as a result of Ghana getting independence earlier than Nigeria, many Nigerians began to go to Ghana. They saw a new hope, a new life, a new beginning. And they were in a community, there were many. Now, what happened was that even under President Busia in Ghana, he came with a law according to which, look, Nigerians are dominating the whole system. He came up with a law, and then he, repatriated, sent packing Nigerians. 1983, Shehu Shagari reciprocated 1 million. About 1 million Ghanaians had to be sent back. Quote and unquote, Ghana must go. Now, when you look at that, other developments continue. The issue is that Nigerians there, they were able to impact more positively on the economy of Ghana. The Ghanaians were not able and are not still able to compete, very well with the Nigerians.
So do you see?
So in this case, yeah, because I'm trying to lay the foundation for your question to see how we moved and why the situation is very difficult. For instance, this year, let me just give you one reason. The Ghanaian president is supporting this type of measures because he wants to win elections by the end of the year. All right. So this is the, let me say, one major rationale for the movement from the dynamics of yesteryears to today. There are many others.
So do you see Ghana taking Nigeria for granted? Because, you know, Nigeria is being considered as like the big brother, you know, of Africa, of West Africa. Do you see them taking Nigeria for granted, probably based on some of the policies that Nigeria has come up with in the past?
There is nothing to suggest that you are wrong. Absolutely nothing to suggest that. The issue is that Ghanaians will know quite well that, look, the popular saying that everything goes in Nigeria. Nothing is impossible in Nigeria. They know that, look, if you know your terrain very well, whatever you want in Nigeria, you will get it. I think that it's not a question of taking Nigeria for granted. The issue is that the Ghanaians have a foreign policy focus. They are more interested in protecting the national interest, which is not the situation with us in Nigeria. It's as simple as that. For instance, the Ghanaian government couldn't tell anybody that it was not aware that private individuals will be coming to destroy our diplomatic premise. They cannot come into the open and say that. The literature has clearly shown that they know very well. When they got to our diplomatic mission, efforts were made to get in touch with the law enforcement agents, the security people. They didn't respond. It's just like when you call policemen to say, oh, there's an armed robber here, they are robbing here all along. The policemen will not be there, but immediately the robbers run away. You see siren here and there, and police are coming. It's as simple as that.
But if I would like to ask you, so now that Nigeria has issued a statement yesterday, the two countries seem a bit close, you know, but ideologies are a bit far. Do you think this will degenerate into something that we didn't bargain for, or what is likely to happen now that Nigeria has taken a harder stance?
Well, I wouldn't argue, I wouldn't believe that we have taken any hard decision. All these statements are at best diplomatic statements. At best. Our foreign minister says, well, ECOWAS will adjudicate, will look at the matter. Yeah. It's not a big deal. Look, Ghana, territorially, may be smaller than Nigeria. Ghana, demographically, may not have the big size of Nigeria, big population, but it's a sovereign state. Even Equatorial Guinea, smaller territories, parcels of territories, they have the same one vote. The principle of sovereign equality in international relations is such that, look, you are equal, at least at the level of de jure consideration. De facto, it may be different. So all the noise making, all the things we are saying, they are diplomatic statements. Look, every time Nigerian or Nigerians are assaulted, what do we say? One, I am sure our own Onyema, foreign minister, will say, we are deeply concerned. Deeply concerned. These are diplomatic expressions. After being deeply concerned, what next? They invite the plenipotentiary of the country in Nigeria for dialogue to find out what's happening. You will complain, you will protest. After that one, you will say, all right, you are going to look into the matter. After looking into the matter, what next? So
you're saying that there's a problem with the foreign policy, the diplomacy with us and other countries?
Yes, of course. That is the issue. Look, a country like Nigeria must have a foreign policy focus, well defined. There must be strategic focus. What really will you say is the objective of our foreign policy? When we say Africa is our centerpiece, what really does that mean now? Under Olusegun Obasanjo at a particular point in time, he said, look, the whole world is the centerpiece of our foreign policy. but emphasis will still be on Africa. The issue is this: if we deal with Ghana at the level of reciprocal treatment, and the French will say cas par cas, that is, for every given case, you reciprocate, the respect will be there. How will you expect ECOWAS to prevent Ghana from protecting its national interest? Ghana is trying to protect its own national interest. We are a country that
should be protecting our own interest.
Yes, we don't bother.
All right.
We only react. A country like Nigeria must not be reacting.
All the
time. It must be more serious. All
right, Professor Akinterinwa, let's pause it there. We'll have to go on a short break now. When we return, we'll be discussing other relations which has to do with Mali and ECOWAS. You're watching... Thank you for watching. President Muhammadu Buhari has urged the military junta in Mali to set an acceptable timetable for a return to democratic governance. He made the statements during a virtual extraordinary summit of the ECOWAS heads of state and government. Briefings were presented by the special envoy to Mali from a Nigerian president, Goodluck Jonathan, at the third extraordinary summit of ECOWAS on the socio-political crisis in Mali. President Buhari wasn't happy with the fact that the regional body's engagements with the new military leadership in Mali had clearly not achieved the desired results in several key areas. The president pledged Nigeria's support alongside ECOWAS in providing necessary logistics to facilitate the conduct of elections to re-establish democratic governance in Mali. Well, I still have with me in the studio the former Director General, Nigeria Institute of International Affairs, Professor Bola Akinterinwa, and he will be discussing this as we shift focus to the political crisis in Mali. It's good to, of course, thank God you're still here with us to discuss what is going on in Africa. Let me first ask you, we've seen, before we go to the decision being made by ECOWAS, we've finally seen a coup, another coup in Africa. If you would like to assess the whole situation, where do you think Africa is going here? Do we still have a long way to go, even though a lot of us have been, independent from our colonial masters for years?
Well, you see, Africa has a peculiar virus, which is quite different from COVID-19 or any other COVID that might have existed. Africa's virus that appears to be flowing in the bloodstreams of our leaders is the one of wanting to come to power but not wanting to ever leave. So in this case, we have most leaders being sit-tight presidents. And when they are there, they really do not want to dance to the tune of the governed. When they are there, they will quickly want to amend or review the constitution to enable them either to have more than the stipulated tenure, or to come up with a completely different framework. This has always antagonized the sensitivity of the people governed. And that is why, on the one hand, government will be talking about a no coup, no unconstitutional change of government, and so on and so forth. But the people that are governed will kick against that. That was why I raised the issue on this platform that, look, the coup in Mali, quote and unquote, it is at the level of the ECOWAS, the regional authority. For them, it is a coup. The people of Mali do not look at it as a coup.
They seem unconcerned.
And the issue is that I am saying, because I distinguish between the sovereignty of the people and delegated sovereignty to the ECOWAS. And I'm saying delegated sovereignty to the ECOWAS can never be superior to the sovereignty of the people. The delegatee should be differentiated. So in this case, we are having a situation whereby you do not want coup d'etat. But what is always responsible for coup making, you do not want to address them. That is the issue. So in the whole of Africa, the extent to which governments of Africa are looking at the complaints of the people, they are no longer listening. They are no longer listening.
But you know, some persons have condemned coup d'etats in all its ramifications, saying that it's not actually the right way to go. But I would like to ask you, what are your concerns with the present situation? We've seen that ECOWAS has taken a stance to say that they want the military junta to conduct elections within a year. But what are your concerns, if you'd like to respond very quickly?
No, in this case, there's nothing wrong with that. I wouldn't subscribe to a situation whereby Goita regime will say they want to be there for 3 years. 3 years for what? Initially, before the ECOWAS came up with its own decision, they said they will be there for 9 months. Goita said 9 months. So 1 year should be okay for the 15-point agenda they had. They do not need to stay there for 36 months. 36 months doing what?
But if you look at, do you see France responding, given their involvement with the 2012 coup?
There's no way France will not be involved. First of all, Mali is a poverty-stricken country, one. Secondly, Mali has a large population of terrorists. Mali is an operational theater for terrorist activities, which is not in the interest of France. And France is a major financier, all right, of economic development there. So the position of France must always be reckoned with in the making of policies in
Mali.
And then if ECOWAS wants to come up with a policy that antagonizes French policy, it will be a case of a French proverbial saying, ordre et contre-ordre égale désordre. Order and counter-order. Order and counter-order amount to disorder. So ECOWAS must make haste slowly in carrying especially other stakeholders.
Professor Bola Akinterinwa, thank you so much for discussing this on with the world now. It's always a pleasure, of course, to have you join us to give us a profound knowledge about the happenings in Africa and see how we can progress as a continent and as a nation. Thank you so much for joining us.
Thank you for having me.